Alright, so this video is for entertainment and education purposes only. Any and everything I say could be wrong. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Anyhow, okay, so I had some questions, and they were interesting questions. I had some questions regarding the story, so this is for anybody who's curious about this story. So what's cool though too is so if a person does kind of pay attention to the story, they're gonna have questions. You know, there's a good chance they're gonna have questions, and it's fair game. It's all fair game. Like, even if it's a troll asking questions, as long as the question is reasonable, and not that I don't know who's a troll and who isn't, honestly, you know, and I don't care. But it's cool. It's cool because the questions are like relevant questions, and then it makes me want to tell more, because every aspect of this story is like fascinating. And so, okay, for example, there's like 2 or 3 questions that came up. One was asking, well, isn't the RV my RV? The RV that burnt down, well, isn't it mine? And this is the thing, no. And so, because then it kind of is like, well, why would she burn her own RV down? You know, these are great questions. That question implies like more it's like, okay, I need more detail, because it doesn't make sense why she would burn her own RV down, right? And this is what makes the story so crazy. Okay, and then the other question was, you know, was like, you could have just, you could have just given her the boot, just kicked her out. And it's like, yeah. So that's even more, opens up more of this story. Like, why didn't I kick her out? Why did she burn? If she did burn her own RV down, why did she do it? Why didn't I just kick her out? And then, and the other question was, you know, that how did she react when her place was burnt down? Because like a normal person, or like a normal response to a person's place burning down would be shock and trauma, right? Like, I was totally trauma. But because for me, my trauma was because you know, I knew what was going on. The mask had been unveiled, and it was like, look at me, I'm a psychopath, and nobody's gonna believe you that I'm a psychopath, and then puts the mask back on. Okay, so let's try to do these in order. Okay, so we'll start with, why didn't I boot her out? Okay, so here's the deal, and to me these are important questions, because you can avoid this kind of stuff from happening to you by hearing testimony like mine. Okay, so let's start with the first one, which is, why didn't I just boot her out? Okay, so here's the deal. When we moved to that place, okay, it was I got us that spot. And it was like the cheapest spot. It was the best spot. It even had a tree for shade. It had a big open space for a yard for the dog. And it was sandwiched in between 2 buildings so that it was hidden, because, you know, she had her psychopath fucking ex-boyfriend stalking her and shit, dude. And we had people stalking us, including him. We had at least 2 people hit her ex-boyfriend, and then the other guy that I told the story about, where I ended up getting him arrested for stalking us, and me and her had to go to court and take him to court for by the police. The police directed us that we needed to get restraining orders against him. So we had to go through the court process to get restraining orders against him. And he got arrested, and his charges, he had several sex offender, when they arrested him, he had several sex offender warrants, including failed to register as a sex offender, and attempting to solicit sex from a minor, and other sex offender, like a bunch, like 5 or 6 sex offender warrants, dude, when they arrested him. And then so this story is epic. It's an epic fucking saga, bro. It is the whole thing will blow your mind. Like every section of the story is a fucking crazy story in and of itself. Anyways, so yeah, so we had a stalker problem. He was stalking us, and the reason he was stalking us is because of her ex-boyfriend was sending him to stalk us, and he wanted to fucking fuck her anyways. So he had his own agenda for stalking her and me, because he was jealous of me because I was hanging out with her. But her ex-boyfriend was the one that was egging it on and encouraging him to stalk us, dude. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is... So when I found this spot, it was a great spot because it was like hidden. We were sandwiched in between 2 buildings, so you couldn't see the RV, okay? And there was this open space for a yard and a tree, and she had a pit bull mastiff, so we needed a yard. And it was cheap as fuck, dude. It was like, it wasn't more than $1,200 a year to stay there. That didn't include electric. So, but the electric bill averaged probably $120 a month. Okay, so I got that spot because I had been working for that property owner for like 3 summers in a row, and we became friendly acquaintances, me and the property owner. Whereas she don't even know the guy at all, right? So why didn't I just boot her out? Again, this is something the testimony like mine that I'm going to give can save a person a lot of pain in the future by listening to this testimony, okay? So I'm with this psychopath, and I don't know because she wears the mask because she's a psychopath. And we're like a year and a half or so into the relationship when we decide to move to this spot that I found. So me and her go over to the property owners because we're lining it all up so we can move to that spot. And so me and her are standing in front of the property owner, and he's like, okay, well, here's the lease, I need a signature and this and that. And then he asks, he's like, so is it going to be just you on the lease, or is it going to be you and her? Or so it was my decision. He's asking me. Now, pay attention. If I was smart, I would have said, oh no, it'll just be me on the lease. I'll just sign it, and that would have been it. That would have been it. Just my name on the lease. With her standing there, she wouldn't be like, well, wait a second. No, there wouldn't be any argument. If I was smart, if I knew, I would just said, oh no, it'll just be me. No problem. We don't need both of us. It's fine. And I just sign it, and that'd be the end of it. Okay. Now, if I had done that, where it was just me on the lease, I could have kicked her ass out, dude. I could have fucking kicked her out. I went to the property owner and said, this bitch is a total fucking psycho and she needs to leave now. I'm calling the fucking cops. This bitch has to go. And the property owner, because I'm the only one on the lease, the property owner would have had to make sure that she got all of her fucking shit, everything, and fucking left. And that would have been it. Well, who knows? But at least, it would have been better if it was just me on the lease, because I would have kicked her fucking. Okay, so if I was on the lease and I knew all this, right? Then when she calls and says that she's gonna break up, I'd be like, okay, well, go ahead and pack up your shit and leave then. And I'm gonna contact the owner right now and let him know that you broke up with me, and because you're not on the lease, are no longer allowed to live on that property, and so you need to pack up all your shit and you need to be gone before I get back, because I'm still on this job for 3 weeks. You don't need more than 3 weeks to pack up your shit and get the fuck out. So fuck off. So if I was on that lease and without her, I would have just said, all right, bitch, fuck off, leave. I wish you would have left a fucking year ago. I've been waiting for you to fucking just go. Get the fuck out of my life already. But because I put her on the lease. So when he said who should be on the lease, is it just going to be you or is it going to be you and her? And I was like, well, I mean, we're splitting the rent, so you might as well put her on it too because we're splitting the rent. That was my whole, see, because I've never been on a lease with anybody in my life, so I don't know. But after what happened to me happened, I'll never put another person on a lease. I don't care if it's my mom, my brother, I don't care who it is. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm ready to fucking like blaspheme God and say, I don't care if it was God himself. I wouldn't, I'm not going to go that far. But dude, I'm telling you, you do not want anyone on any lease of yours. If you are the fucking person and they're asking you, do you want it just to be you on the lease or do you want it to be you and this person here? This sweet, innocent looking, quiet, shy, meek, reserved, timid person. Do you want this person? It's like, dude, you don't want anyone on a lease, especially if she is shy, timid, reserved, quiet. No, those are the most dangerous motherfuckers. And not dangerous in the sense where they're like Billy Badass. No, cowards are the most dangerous people that walk the earth, dude. Cowards. Strong people are not cowards. Cowards are the most dangerous. So, and stupid, cowardly people are the most dangerous motherfuckers. And I guess one way to put it is because they're most likely to get possessed by a demon because they're a coward and they're stupid. Anyway, so that's the first question answered. That's why I didn't boot her out. I couldn't. And the law said, according to the fucking property owner, he was asking, when I went to him and I told him that this bitch is a total fucking psycho, dude. You need to kick her ass out. And he's like, okay. And he believed me. And he knew that because he knows I'm not a madman and I'm not a liar. He knows I'm not a madman and he knows I'm not a liar. So when I told him all this, he's like, okay. And he was ready to kick her out. And he just assumed that I owned the RV me and her lived in. And I'm like, no, I don't own it. And he's like, oh. Because if I owned the RV, this is the way it would go. After our lease was up, which was like 5 or 6 months, then I could force her to leave. As soon as the lease is up, I could force her to leave if I owned the RV. But because she owns the RV, when our lease is up in 5 or 6 months, she holds the cards. So she can tell the owner to kick me out. You see how this works? So, and I was just in shock. I was like, no fucking way. You've got to be. And that's when I started like kicking myself for fucking putting her on the lease. I'm like, dude, I should have never put her on the fucking lease, man. But it's because I didn't know. So this is what I'm saying. My testimony can save a viewer a lot of fucking pain in the future. Never put anyone on a lease. I don't care who the fuck they are. Unless they're Jesus fucking Christ himself or God, do not put them on a lease ever. If they're offended by you not putting them on a lease, then they're not worth your fucking time. They can fuck off, dude. And that's the way. Don't ever put anyone on a lease. Ever. Not even your own mom. No one. Do not. I guarantee, I'm begging you, don't. Because, dude, what happened to me, bro, I mean, I wouldn't wish it on my worst fucking enemy, dude. Okay, so, now, the thing about her owning the RV, so this was another interesting question, is like, well, wait a second. I thought it was your RV. You mean it's her RV? So she burnt her own RV down? This is what's hilarious. So, okay. So now let's go. We're going to go back to when I first got home from the Denver show. Okay. My first day back. I show up. I'm all fucking tripped the fuck out. I park my van down half a block down the street so she can't know whether I'm home or not, because I want to catch her getting her ass fucked by her boyfriend or something, so I can fucking fuck some shit up. I've got a bloodlust. I want to fuck somebody up, right? So I park my van halfway down the block to surprise her and her boyfriend, right? So I get there, and if you know the story, you know the story. I go in. Everything's crazy, fucking witch brooms hanging from the ceiling, fucking all this weird shit, a douche on the fucking sink, and like, what the fuck? This bitch is a total psycho, right? So, and then I go, I'm like stressing out, so I'm going back to my van because I forgot my cigarettes, and as soon as I open the door, she's right there, and I startled her. And she startled me, and it's like, whoa, right? So then we're sitting and talking, right? We're trying to talk. Okay, this is a bunch of crucial detail I left out, which will explain the whole idea of her and her friends burning her own RV down. Let's check it out. Okay, despite the fact that they are under investigation, she and all her friends are under investigation for possible murder of Todd Minshaw. Okay, despite the fact of that is a motive in and of itself, not only for her to burn her own RV down, but all her friends who are all potentially involved in whatever happened with Todd Minshaw, they are all telling her that there could be evidence in there and you need to fucking the best thing to do is just burn the place down, and then we can frame him for it. Just start spreading rumors that he burnt the place down because he was in a rage because he was so upset that he got dumped by his girlfriend who left him for another man and all this stuff. Okay, despite all of that obvious reasons why they would burn that shit down, right? So check it out. So during our conversation, me and her both startle each other when we first encounter each other, right? On my first day back. And I'm like, okay, can we talk now? And she's like, yeah, I'm really tired. I just got home from work and I'm going to quit my job, right? And that conversation. I'm like, what is going on? Why can't you just talk to me? Like, you're quitting your job, you're breaking up with me. Like, what the fuck? Can you at least give me some closure? Like, explain to me what the fuck is this all about? And she's not talking. And so then I have to keep probing her. And I'm like, what is it? Is it another guy or something? And as soon as I ask that, it's like the guilt and shame is all over her to where it's totally laughable. And I just started laughing, you know? I'm laughing at the whole thing. Even the idea of her being with another guy is like, who would put up with this fucking psycho bitch, dude? Who would even bother? Like, what the fuck? Who is this creature she found? I'm just like laughing. And so anyways, then we're going on and on, right? And we have a 45-minute discussion before she storms off, and because she's a strong, empowered woman. And she's not going to take any of this from me. So before it gets to that, we're like talking, right? And she doesn't know how to even have a conversation with a person, dude. She just doesn't have any interpersonal skills at all whatsoever. She's just like clinically retarded in some strange psychopathic sense, She's just like, everything is like totally, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Anyway, so we're talking, and she starts to go into this thing where she's been talking with her parents, and she's thinking about moving back in with her parents. And when she said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe this chick does have a brain in her head. And so I was like, dude, that is a great idea. I think you should go and live with your parents. there's nothing out here. This town is a fucking ghost town. It's just a bunch of tweakers and retards, and this place is a fucking shithole. Get the fuck out of here. Go to your parents, and you can use that time to get on your feet. And I'm like, I understand if you want to break up. This has nothing to do with me trying to keep our relationship going. I totally support you going to your parents. I think that is the best. That is the best idea. And even though we're broken up, like, dude, I care about you and fucking and I support this. Like, I'll help you get to your parents and shit, right? And so she's like, well, I was talking to him about it, and I ran the idea by them, but they said that they weren't really sure about it. They haven't really gotten back to me, and I'm like, well, I'll fucking, dude, call them right now. Call your parents, because if they'll agree, I'll fucking drive you. I'll take you out there myself. I'll drive, dude, and I totally respect. We're broke up. And then I realized my van's fucked up, and I'm like, fuck. And so then I said, no, okay, I'll buy you a plane ticket there. I will pay for you to go back to your parents. I'm like, were you cool with that? I'll buy your plane ticket. And she's like, oh, well, they won't let dogs on a plane. And I'm like, oh, fuck. She's trying to. And so then, but anyways, so we were having this conversation. And I was like, okay, if they'll let the dog on the plane and your parents agree to take you in and I buy your plane shit, you'll do that? Because, like I said, I respect us being broke up, but I care about you, and I totally support this idea, because there's nothing out here for you. There's nothing. This place is a shithole. At least at your parents, you can use that time to get on your feet. And so she agreed, and I said, okay, well, call your parents, call your dad. And so then she got on the phone, right? And then she's like, he didn't answer. And because she'd already been lying to me, I'd already caught her in several lies just in that 20, 30 minutes of talking. I gave her the look. I was like, dude, give me the fucking phone. So I was getting frustrated. I was, dude, just give me the fucking phone. Let me fucking call him. And so then she got pissed, but she reluctantly handed me the phone, and I called it. And then I called it, and guess what? He answered. So yeah, she wasn't lying about that or anything. Okay. So then I'm talking to her dad, and she's standing right there, okay? And I'm talking to her dad, and I'm trying to be nice about, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what is going on. She broke up with me through a text, and she's not telling me why. I guess it's some other guy. I don't really know, and I don't really know what's going on. But, she said something about that she was hoping she could maybe go back to live with you guys. And she said she's been talking to you about it, but that you guys weren't really sure if that was a good idea. And so I'm just calling to let you know, if you guys are willing to let her go home, I will pay for the airfare. I'll pay whatever the airfare is. I'll pay for it, because I think that this is a really good idea, because this place is a shithole. There's nothing out here. There's no decent people out here, hardly at all. It's just a really terrible place, and I think it would be good for her, because she could use that time to get on her feet and everything. And I do care about your daughter, and so I'm telling him this, right? And then he's like, this is what he says. He says, well, actually, we were the ones that offered it to her, and she's the one who is not accepting our offer. And so then I'm on the phone, and I'm looking at her, and here's another lie. So this bitch is just a full-blown chronic, every word that comes out of this bitch's mouth is nothing but a fucking lie, dude. And I'm telling you, it's like, this is not the same person. She just overnight just completely changed into a fucking demon, dude. I'm not kidding you. This is not the person that I lived with for 3 years. This is a complete. So I'm looking at her while he's telling me that it was him that offered her to come and live with them, and that way she can kind of get on her feet. And it was her that was refusing. Okay, I'm trying to get to the thing about her RV. Okay, but all these details are all so fascinating and so interconnected and crucial to the whole story. And so I'm like, really? And she's just standing there and she's acting all fucking weird, dude. She's just being a weirdo, totally. And I'm like, really? So here's just one more of a pile of lies. She is such a liar and everything. And I'm like, okay, because she told me that that she was asking you guys, and that you guys were the ones that were not really sure. And so then she can hear me. So now she knows she's caught in another lie. And because she's standing right there, and then she starts I can see she's starting to get upset and fucking tripping out and shit. And he's like, yeah. And then he starts going into, we've had these same problems with her over the years. And he starts going into this big story of the last big fucking dramatic shitstorm that she started, that her parents had to fix. And he goes into the story, and what it was is her and her psycho ex, who have 2 children, these poor children, dude. Wait till you hear the stories about these children and what they've done to him and did to him is fucking disgusting, dude. So he said she was, and her psycho baby daddy and the 2 children were all living in the area where her parents are. So they got to visit their grandchildren a lot. And what happened is one day out of the blue, she disappeared with her psycho fucking baby daddy and the children. Just randomly out of the blue, just disappeared one day for no reason, no explanation, no nothing, just disappeared. And her poor parents were like fucking worried sick. Like, what happened? What are their grandchildren okay? Like, what is going on? And they never heard. And they got so fucking tripped out that her parents ended up having to hire a private investigator and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. And it took the private investigator like a year to find her. And that's where she was, in this little ghost town out in the middle of nowhere, where I met her and where all this happened. But he had to spend thousands of dollars on a private investigator, and he was telling me this story, like, because he's empathizing with me. He's like, dude, yes, she is a fucking psycho, okay? Her own dad, right? And so then we're talking some more, and I'm like, well, would she be able to go home because I just want her gone. I'm like, I just want her out of my life. So I'm trying to reason with him, like, well, what if I pay for airfare, would you allow her to come home and maybe she can try to get her shit together and stuff? And she's standing right there, and she's like standing right there the whole time, and she's getting more and more frustrated and acting weirder and weirder, right? And I asked, I'm like, what do you think? If she wants to go, I'll pay for. And he's like, well, the only thing is we do want her to do some stuff. She does have to be responsible with some stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, for example, he goes, she can't just leave that RV, abandon that RV. We want her to be responsible, so she can't just abandon the RV and this and that. And I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, dude, if you guys want, if you trust me, I'll buy it from you. I'll buy the RV from you. That way she's not abandoning. So but as soon as me and her father started talking about the RV, she fucking just snapped. And again, totally out of character. I'd never seen her like this. She just started yelling. She goes, that RV's a piece of shit. I hate that fucking RV. It's a worthless fucking, she just started, she has some vitriol hatred towards the RV. And I think what it is because her and her psycho baby daddy lived in that RV for several years with their two children, and she's got all this like history with that RV and all the shameful stuff and everything. And because the RV is a good RV, it only had like 60,000 miles on the engine. It's a fucking Chieftain, 33-foot Chieftain. Like it's a sound RV. It doesn't have any leaks or nothing. You know, it's old school, but the older shit, anyways, whatever. So she just like possessed. Like she's possessed. She's like, oh, she starts foaming at the mouth and freaking out. And she's like yelling at her dad while I have the phone like this and I'm talking to him like this. And it's like she could hear him telling me that, well, she can't just abandon that RV. She needs to be responsible and make sure that, you know, she does something. And then that's when but that's when she starts, I hate that fucking RV. It's a fucking piece of like a demon, dude. Like demon fuck. I'm getting scared just remembering because he gets way worse than this, dude. Like this ain't even nothing. And so she has this like weird, like obsessive hatred for the RV. Like just randomly, like totally. I've never heard this before. Like this is not the same fucking person. I'm telling you, dude. I'm fucking telling you, bro. And so yeah, so that didn't go anywhere. So she made sure to fucking hijack that. I was so close to like, I was going to send her off on a plane and that would be it. I'd never have to deal with it, right? So anyways, so that explains like, well, like why would she burn her own RV down, dude? And there's way more. There's so much, like this story, I'm telling you this story. But anyways, yeah, but it wasn't just her. Like, okay, she was being controlled by dark entities. Dark entities were working through her to attack me, dude. And it wasn't just her that burnt the place. It was like it was this big conspiracy with many people in a witch cult. See, I haven't even gotten into the details about the witch cult yet, bro. All these people that she's hanging out with them, a bunch of them are self-proclaimed witches, dude. Including her, which I didn't know. See, there's so much detail. So much I'm leaving out, man. Unbelievable shit that would blow your mind. All these crucial details. So, and the witch cult thing is like crazy rabbit hole, bro. Like, you wouldn't even believe. And I would love to go over all of this, you know, like I'm telling this is what I'm saying. I need to do like a Twin Peaks series, dude. This is gold, man. Witch cults, demon possession, fucking death threats, arson, murder investigations. Like the whole thing is just this never ending, like what the fuck? It goes deep as fuck, dude. And all these people, they all got away with this. The cops never did anything about any of it. It was like the cops were all protecting them, you know, which is the way it is. This narcissists thrive in your civilized, so-called civilized society is where narcissists thrive. That's why malignant narcissists rule over your society, because this whole society is set up and designed so that malignant narcissists are the one who thrive in your so-called civilized society, not actual truly civilized people. Truly civilized people get trampled and end up homeless and destitute. Civilized people end up in destitution and slavery and poverty. And all these malignant narcissists are the ones who thrive in your so-called civilized society. It's all inverted, dude. Just like that news clip, kill all the homeless. Yeah, that's because, dude, you gotta start getting the picture on this at some point, man. Like, this is real. This isn't me. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks anyways. Think whatever you want. Watch when I'm right. Watch when I'm right and I'm gone. And all you people that have heard me talking about this for years, once I ghost and you don't even know where the fuck I am, then once after I've ghosted, then you start to see it. And you start to think back of, I remember that angry hobo guy it's like, yeah, I've been right all along. But it won't be until I'm ghosted and gone, and you haven't seen me on YouTube or BitChute for a few years, and then the picture, all this stuff I've been talking about, you're starting to see it, and then you're wondering, maybe that Angry Hobo guy was right, and I wonder why he isn't on the internet anymore. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you, because all this time you've been fucking acting like I don't know, and that you do. Why I keep talking about homelessness all the time? Wait, you'll see it. You'll eventually see it. You stare into the abyss long enough, but like I said, I'll be long gone once you figure out what I've been trying to talk about all these years. By the time you start to figure it out, I'll be long gone. And you'll be like, wow, weird. Isn't that weird? It almost seems like Angry Hobo was right, and I thought he was crazy. Yeah. Weird. But anyway, so yeah, and so then the obvious reasons, dude, there was like so much, dude, there was evidence in that RV. There was all kinds of evidence, and that's a whole other story. There's a big story, which is more crucial detail that I've had to leave out. Tons of evidence in that RV, which I didn't realize until after the ship burned down, bro. And I found like remnants of evidence, which is a whole other story. But it just opened up a whole other fucking rabbit hole where I was like, oh my God, dude. It never ends. This story just never ends. Okay, so these fucking people, dude, I'm telling you, bro. So then what was how did she react? Right. Because she's an actor. Everything is drama. Like, she's just everything is a lie. So dude, okay, so here's the thing, okay? So when I left for Texas, because the cop told me, you need to go to that job in Texas because you and this girl need to stay away from each other. I'm like, fine. So I left for Texas. I'm only on the job a week when that I get the phone call that the whole fucking place burnt down along with half the block, okay? And I guarantee you, the only person that was traumatized by the fire was me, because that's the whole point of the fire, was to traumatize me. This is what we're dealing with when we're talking about psychopaths. Like, psychopaths are totally obsessed with whoever their intentional victim is. They become totally obsessed with them, and their whole life is devoted to raping and pillaging and murdering and destroying that person. And for what reason? Has anybody heard me mention any reason why all this vitriol, hatred towards me? Yeah, to this day, nobody knows. Like, the only explanation is the angel numbers. She saw the angel numbers told her all this. So she cut off all communication with me. So one of the commenters' question was like, how did she react to the fire? Well, see, that's the thing. First of all, I wasn't there. I didn't get back for another week or week and a half. Okay? Okay? But I found out. Okay? Now, this is a whole other story of how okay, as soon as I got back from Texas, within the first day or two, I ran into a friend of mine who lives in another ghost town about 35 miles away, okay? And we ran into each other, and when she saw me, she was like, OMG. She's like, dude, I have to talk to you. And when I saw her, I was like, bro, I have some shit to tell you. And then she's like, dude, I think I know what you're going to tell me, but let me tell you first what. And I'm like, okay, tell me what. So you see where this is going, right? And she's like, OMG. She's like, I got to tell you this shit. And she goes, dude, I ran into your fucking girlfriend at the store. And I'm like, yeah? Did ya? And she's like, holy shit. See, my friend is seeing the obvious. She's like, dude. She goes, anyways, see, this is a whole other story. And so I start finding shit out. Okay? So anyways, but let me get to this. All right. So this is what happened with the fire. Okay. Coincidentally, the fire happened. So my friend ran into my fucking psycho ex at the store on October 12th of 2022. Okay. Like a couple days before I got back. Or no, a week before I got back. Okay. And the fire happened at 3 a.m. So my friend ran into her at like 6 o'clock in the evening on October 12th. And then the fire happened at 3 a.m. So after my friend had the encounter with my psycho ex, then about 8 hours later, the fire happened. Coincidentally, right? Okay, so there's a whole story where my friend tells this crazy story when she ran into her at the store. It's ridiculous, bro. So anyways, so we got to fast forward to the fire. More crucial detail I have to fast forward to get to the question. Is how did my ex react or respond to the fire? Because a normal response to a fire would be like shock and trauma and like, oh my God, my place is on fire. Okay. Well, strangely, she didn't have this response. Okay. So the fire happens at 3 a.m. And so when the fire happens at 3 a.m., she goes to the gas station that's like a couple blocks up the street with her dog and one or two cats and her cell phone. Goes across the street up to the gas station that's like a couple blocks up, 2.5 blocks, I guess, equivalent of 2.5 blocks. And she calls the fire department, calls 911 and tells them that the fire happened, right? And so a friendly acquaintance of mine was working at the gas station when the fire happened. And he comes out and he sees her. And she's just like chilling out in front of the gas station with her dog and one or two cats and her cell phone. And he's like talking to her. And she's just like, nothing. It's just like, yeah, the place is on fire. Yeah. Like it's like nothing. It's like nothing. Yeah, I called 911. They're on their way. And meanwhile, the fucking fire is like, and she's just like chilling, like whatever. And my friendly acquaintance was telling me he was the one that was explaining that to me, how it was really, he thought it was really weird because she was just like, she wasn't like freaking out or nothing. She's just like, yeah, I called 911. Yeah, it's on fire. Yeah. No, nothing, dude. Okay. Now here's the other thing about it. When an RV goes up, it catches on fire, they're like matchboxes, dude. Like RVs and fifth wheel trailers. When they catch on fire, they fucking light, dude. The chances of surviving, okay, because it was 3 a.m. So, and the story which she told my friendly acquaintance who works at the gas station, she told him this was her story, dude. This was her official story that she told the fire department area and told everybody. Okay, hold on, let me light this cigarette. Her story that she told everybody about the fire was that she was asleep, okay, and she smelled smoke, and that woke her up, and the fire was coming from under her bed, and she was able to escape the fire. Not only escape the fire, but also rescue her dog from the fire and the 2 cats, and manage to get her cell phone all, and just like totally no problem. 3 a.m. in the morning. And this is the truth about a fire. Like with a dude, if you're asleep and one of those fucking things catches on fire, the chances of survival, like people don't, it's a miracle if people survive a fire like that, because those things go up like matchbox. So, but for her to not only, so it's even more of a miracle that not only she survives, but that she's able to get her dog out and the 2 cats and her cell phone and herself out. That's like 4 times the miracle it would be to just let alone for her herself to survive. Now, that doesn't even include that you don't know her. See, I know her. Like, dude, this bitch doesn't even know how to shut a fucking refrigerator door. She doesn't even know how to turn the water off on a water faucet, dude. She doesn't know how to do anything. She would be the last person that would be able to survive a fire like that, let alone get her dog out, 2 cats, and manage to have her cell phone as well. See, you don't know her. I know her. Like, she is like the least likely person. Haven't you ever met someone that in your life where, like, they are just, there's something about them where they are just like clumsy in every sense. Like, they don't know how to do anything. You know, like if they were in a situation, they're the last person that would get out. Like they're fucked, right? She is that person. Don't you know somebody like that in your life where they're just like, they're so out of touch with reality that they like, if a shit hits the fan scenario happened, like they would be the person dragging you down because they don't even know how to tie their fucking shoe, and they're like 30 years old and they still don't know how to tie their shoe, and it's a shit hits the fan scenario and you're grabbing your fucking bug out gear and everything, and you're like, come on, you're looking at your person and they're like confused. They don't even know how to put their shoe on. You know, this is her, I'm telling you. So no. And yeah, so no, she didn't freak. No, I was freaked out, but she wasn't. To her, it was just like, oh, yeah, the place is burning down, you know. And you can see the whole fucking, like, everybody in town saw there was a massive fire, dude. Like, half a block burnt down. A 4-bedroom house, a fucking RV, a 2,000 plus square foot storage building, like a massive fire that the whole town could see it, bro. Like every aspect of this story is so obvious that it was obvious that she and her friends burnt that place down. It was obvious that she and her friends are somehow involved in that guy's death. It's obvious that they put a death threat out on me. Like, everything is like, these cops have all the evidence and they didn't do jack shit about any of it. They intentionally helped to cover it up by all appearances. So anyways, this is another long video, so there you go.